So first of all, my name's Chase Anderson. I'm the program coordinator for the Outdoor Product Design and Development program here at Utah State. I've been working for the program coming up on 4 years, and my primary role with the program is industry outreach, as well as marketing and recruitment for the program. So that's why I'm here today, is to kind of help you all as you're trying to figure out if this is a major that you want to pursue and an industry that you want to get into. So, and then I'm joined with Barbara Baird. Barbara, if you want to introduce yourself to the group, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Barbara Baird, and I am the academic advisor for the OPDD program. So I can help you coordinate what classes you need to take. So connect with me and we'll have a chat on which order you got to take those in. Thanks,
Right.
Chase.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to dive right in. But first, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we're going to answer those towards the end. But as you think of questions, just drop them in the chat, and we'll keep an eye on those. And we want to make sure that we answer all your questions throughout the conversation. So make sure to use that so we can get your questions answered. We want to make sure that this is helpful for you all. The whole purpose of this is, we want to help you as you're trying to figure out if this is a direction that you want to go in your college career and your career after college. So the idea of this is provide an opportunity for prospective students of this program to get an idea of what it's like before you make that full commitment to get into this program, because it is a big commitment. And we want to give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into. So first of all, my slides aren't going. There we go. We kind of just want to, first of all, hear from you. What was your initial interest in outdoor product design and development? Maybe you saw an Instagram post from our program. Maybe a friend of yours is in the program and shared some of their designs. Maybe a parent shared an article that they read about the program. Where did you first hear about the program and what initially jumped out to you? If you don't mind typing that out, that would be helpful. If you're not comfortable typing that out and sharing, just think about that for a minute. What initially drew you to the program? And then hopefully throughout the course of this conversation, we can try to match up what your interests are to this program and hopefully find a good fit for you. So I guess the first question is, what is outdoor product design and development? So as I've kind of said at the top, it's a 4-year undergraduate Bachelor of Science degree here at Utah State. It started in the fall of 2015. So it's a relatively new program, but we do have graduates. We have 2 graduating classes, the class of 2019, class of 2020. So all of you who are exploring this program are coming in at a good time. Where we've kind of worked through the program, we've developed the curriculum, and the curriculum where it's at is in a really good place, after a few years and a couple of graduating classes already. But outdoor product design is really, it's for anyone who's interested in getting into a career in the outdoor industry, whether it's getting into more product design, whether it's getting into product development, or if you want to get more into the product management side of things. And so largely before our program started, there was no clear path to get into a career in the sports or outdoor industries. You'll hear stories of people who are in the outdoor industry who say, I just kind of fell into it. And we wanted to create a program partnering with the outdoor industry to create an easier pathway for people who want to work in that industry. So wanted to share a video with you. Hopefully the sound comes through to give you kind of an idea of the feel of the program, what you might be doing day to day.
Utah State University student River McKay turned her passion for the outdoors into a career. Through the Outdoor Product Design and Development program, she learned how to create products to help explorers venture without limits. Today, she transforms her ideas into innovative apparel as a technical designer at Backcountry.
I'm an Aggie, and I connect people to the outdoors.
Cool. So as you can see, it's an exciting program. It's very hands-on. You're getting your hands dirty. You're making real things, right? This is a program not so much about getting into textbooks and doing busy work, but more so making real stuff that people are going to enjoy and use. So I kind of touched on the program history earlier, but just to reemphasize that, we partnered with companies in the outdoor industry. We have a lot here in Utah, a lot nationally. We kind of all came together with this realization that the outdoor industry is a big deal. There's a lot of people who make very long careers working in the outdoor industry. You have companies like Patagonia, Black Diamond, more on the sports side, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. These are big companies that have a big impact on the world. And they hire a lot of people. They need a lot of really talented people in those companies. And so we came together with a group of companies, high-ranking people from each of these companies, kind of vice president level individuals in design, in product development, in management, and we talked about what would a program look like that provides a student all the skills that they need to go and be successful and be impactful and succeed in a career in the outdoor industry. And so, in a series of advisory board meetings and coming together, the outdoor product design and development curriculum was created. Again, with the intention of helping you all, with a passion, who have a passion for the outdoors and for this industry, actually have a clear path into working for any of these types of companies. So, kind of going back to that question that I asked at the beginning a little bit, what attracted you to this program? We want to kind of answer that question. Who is outdoor product design and development for? What kind of person, what kind of student, what kind of interests, are a best fit for being a part of this kind of a program. This video, I just want to share another video. I think visualizing the program, it's a lot easier if we can show you, projects students have worked on, the type of work that you'd be doing day to day, rather than me just talking about it. So here's another short video that just shows one of our students working on a project from start to finish. Right. So back to that question, who is OPDD for? The Outdoor Product Design and Development Program is for anyone who wants to do what you just saw in that video. For anyone who loves product, who loves solving problems, who likes to dig into a problem and get their hands dirty and come up with a solution. We think this program is a really good fit for anyone who's just always doodling or always creating something, or it has a general passion for products. And so the skills that you'd learn over the course of the program, you can kind of see in that video, being able to take really cool ideas that you might have in your head and translate those into real things. So over the course of the 4 years in the program, as a designer, kind of on the design side of the program, you will be learning a variety of skills that help you better communicate those ideas to other people. That's largely what designers do, is solve problems. But in order to solve a problem, you have to work in a larger team, especially at a company, to make a product. You need to be able to help other people understand what the problem is and then what your solution is. And so that can take a lot of different forms, whether that's through sketching or whether that's, through sewing or machining, physical products, designing digitally, as you can see here. So at least in the first 2 years of the program, everyone's going to get some exposure to learning how to communicate ideas and take those really great ideas that you might have in your head and bring them into the real world. So here's some of the classes that you might take. Well, you would take in the first 2 years of the program. As you can kind of see in the name of the program, it is a design program. And while outdoor is in the name of the program, you know, our students do spend a lot of time inside, right, making stuff. So there's going to be a balance there. We have a lot of students who like to play and like to get outside, but design is sitting down and trying to solve problems. So we're trying to, you know, this program is really for students who want to do a little bit of both, right? But more so on the solving problems side of things. So as you can see here in these classes, you're going to take an intro to product creation class. So learning how a product goes to market from idea all the way to a finished product. You're going to learn concept sketching. So how to, like I said, take ideas in your head and quickly generate ideas on paper that you can then go and take to other people on your design team or in the company and say, you know, I think we should create this kind of a product, and this is what it can do, and this is how it would function. You know, sketching more and more, even in this world where technology is everywhere and so accessible. We've kind of found the designers who are most successful are the ones that still are there with a sketchbook using pencil and paper, sketching out ideas because they can do that the quickest. Graphic communication is going to be more your digital design. So working in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, you know, taking those designs on paper and then maybe cleaning them up in a digital form. Fundamentals of design. So learning, you know, those building blocks that go into what is good design, what is a design process. You know, how do you do more than just, you know, doodle on a piece of paper? How do you create a process for yourself to solve real problems rather than just, you know, doodle products, right, that are just going to go to market, maybe not really solve any real problem. History of the outdoor industry, outdoor products. So understanding kind of the heritage of the outdoor industry, you know, from companies like Patagonia to companies like LL Bean and Eddie Bauer and that have been over, you know, older than 100 years. Like what is the heritage of the outdoor industry and what are you kind of coming into? A CAD class, so computer-aided drafting, learning how to design products in 3D. And then, you know, your digital design classes as well, kind of similar 2D and 3D classes, so you can start to learn those digital tools, as well as all your hands-on classes. We've found that the designers that are most successful are not just those ones that can you know, create a really beautiful image on paper or on the computer, but who can then translate that idea into a physical product. Because ultimately, you want to get your product made. And if you're a designer who understands manufacturing, you know, how all these pieces are going to come together, and at least have some familiarity with, okay, how do I sew, you know, two pieces of fabric together? How do I create a pattern that's going to become a backpack, right? If you can understand the technical, you know, how does a product come together, you're going to be a much better designer when you're starting pencil and paper. And you're a little more grounded in, okay, a factory can actually make this thing that I'm designing rather than I'm going to design this really cool thing without even knowing if a factory can produce it. And then you find that out and you have to start all over again. So as you can see, the ideas that you go from cool idea in your head all the way through, you know, a sketch to a digital design that's more refined, all the way to a prototype that you can handle, that you could, you know, pack that you could throw on your back. And then, you know, really gain some unique insights that you can only get from working with a physical product that you created. You know, after the first 2 years of the program, that's largely the same for any student that comes through the program. Whether you're more interested in design, development, or product line management, those classes are all going to be really the same. Around the spring semester of sophomore year, there's going to be a portfolio review process. So for the design track within our program, we have a limited number of seats. And that's because of the hands-on nature of that side of the program and that emphasis area within the program. So we have a limited number of seats. And so, and for the other two emphasis areas, we want to make sure that the quality of work, you know, that's going to graduate, you know, is really high. And so we have a portfolio review process. Having a portfolio as a designer, developer is standard. It's something that you need to do anyway. So kind of at the end of that sophomore year is your opportunity to take all of this work that you've put together in the first 2 years, as well as anything that you've designed on the side, and put it into a format where you really showcase your skills and abilities. And this is the point where a faculty committee is going to look at your work, and you'll be able to have that opportunity to advance into the design track if you're approved by the faculty. And again, there's a limited number of seats in that side of the program, just because of limits on the equipment that we have in our labs. We can only advance a certain number of students. But there's 2 other tracks that I'll get into, and we'll talk about what that looks like. But everyone's got to do a portfolio review. I wanted to show a couple examples here. So one that's more of a soft good. And over the course of the program, you're going to maybe identify, okay, I'm more interested in soft goods, or I'm more interested in hard goods, or I'm more interested in apparel, or I like all of it, and I kind of want to do a little bit of everything. And that's great. We want you to kind of figure that out over the course of the program, and kind of figure out what you're most passionate about, what you're interested in. In a way, this program's kind of a choose your own adventure, where, yeah, the core classes in the first 2 years are the same, but you can kind of choose what's my emphasis area. What am I most passionate about? What types of materials and products do I want to work with? So let's look at Mikkel's portfolio here. Sorry, we're going to jump here to her website. So a portfolio is really a look into what can you do? What are the skills that you have? It's for an employer, it's a glimpse into the way that you think, and how you work through a problem. So Mikkel wanted to create a better insulated jacket for her dog. So there was a problem that she wanted to solve. She clearly states what that problem is. She goes into brainstorming. So, kind of sketching out a variety of designs and patterns, different types of construction. You can tell that, her first design wasn't the final design. I imagine she went through more designs than the 11 or so that are here. Design isn't just a one, something where you take one shot at it and then you're done. She went through a process to kind of figure out what her final was. So once she landed on a design that she really liked, something that's, as you can tell, kind of more insulated here at the top, more water resistant down below, kind of with the down chambers here. She cleaned it up. She took it into a digital format where she could really polish it, make it really presentable. Have little call outs here so you can clearly see what the different features are on the product. And again, really made it look super clean. And then down below, she got into the nitty gritty of, okay, here's the exact size of each piece. So she could send this straight to a factory and say, hey, I've got it all figured out. I've actually, made some prototypes as well. It's helpful when you've got someone who can try on gear for you and be a gear tester. And then she actually went and learned how to use some of the equipment that we have in the labs, including a laser cutter, so she could, cut out really clean pattern pieces, and then actually sew up the product, and take it out and use it. And then, design she's never done, so the idea is, yeah, she came up with a finished product that she tested and was really happy with, but there's still some things that she would change next time she kind of iterates on this product. And she's got some other great examples here. So if you want to go to her portfolio, you can see it here. That can be something we send out as well to the group. Wanted to share a more hard goods type product. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see this. So this student wanted to create a light that attaches to your ski or trekking pole. So if you're hitting the trail really early or really late, you don't want to wear a headlamp, or if you're skiing, at night or early morning, the student wanted to create some kind of detachable light that could go connect to your ski or trekking pole. So that's really the final product. But again, kind of a problem statement. What is it that he was trying to solve? And then he went through a few different designs. As you can tell, all of these look so different. So that initial sketching phase is really the opportunity for you to explore and try to figure out, okay, what is the problem I'm trying to solve, and then what are some potential solutions? And you can tell how different they are. And sketching is a really quick way that you can do that. Once he landed on a design that he liked, it was into the hands-on prototyping phase. So he actually went and learned all the electronic side of things, 3D printed the casing, sourced all the lights, and then ended up, having a physical product, which, kind of hard to shoot a product at night. But he actually went out and tested it as well. So, hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of the process that students are going to go through, and what a good portfolio looks like. As you can tell, portfolio is really clean. It's really image heavy. And the idea of a portfolio is, we want to show, the technical skill. So I know how to sketch. I know how to design in 3D. I know how to communicate my designs. But it's also an opportunity to give an employer, or in the case of a portfolio review, the faculty, an idea of how you think through a problem, and how you work through that issue. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, the program has grown significantly in the last 4 or 5 years that it's been around. We've got about 230 students over the course of the 4 years of the program currently. And with a limited design track, a limited number of students that we can take into that, we started thinking, well, not all of the students who are in this program want to do design. Not all of them want to be that person who's doing all the sketching and all that concept work. Maybe there's someone who wants to do more of the sourcing and work with that designer to figure out what materials am I going to choose, which factory am I going to work with, how am I going to take this pie in the sky idea and rein it in and figure out the measurements, the technical specifications, like how am I going to get this thing made, which is more product development. And then, maybe there's someone who they don't want to get that lost in the weeds. They want to be overseeing the whole process and kind of be that third leg of the stool that we kind of see as design development and product line management. They want to be the product line manager who's looking more at the market and looking at, okay, this is kind of the lay of the outdoor market. These are the areas that we're really succeeding in. We kind of want to break into this new category. So it's the person who's going to do all that market research and figure out, is there a hole in the market for us to break into? What's that price point going to look like? How does it compare to other products out there? Is there an opportunity for us to jump in? And then it's going to be the one who's going to create the design brief that they're going to give to the designer and say, so we want to create a new line of backpacks, right? That's for this consumer. And it's going to be the one that comes with that market research and says, we really think there's an opportunity if we can hit this price point. And then we'll work with the designer to move forward and come up with some concepts. And the product line manager is the one who sees all of this through the process, is the one that's managing the timelines, the one that's ushering, this design through the whole process and making sure that it actually gets produced and to the customer in a timely manner. So there's 3 really distinct opportunities there. And I kind of explained them, but just visually, maybe this helps. Again, design is doing a lot of that upfront concepts, a lot of iterating on ideas, learning a lot of these technical skills and tools. It's going to be doing a lot of sketching, a lot of 3D design, a lot of the hands-on prototyping as well. We see the designers who know how to use a variety of tools are the ones who are the most versatile and the most valuable. these are some of the classes that you'd be taking in that third and fourth year as a designer. If you're accepted into the design emphasis, these are some of the classes that you would take. So you have a design studio class that you take every semester. And that's kind of a more of a free form class where you're in there with your cohort and you have your professor who's kind of like your design lead, who says, here's your design brief. You know, you've got 2 weeks to give me concepts for this. You know, and then the next week I need to see prototypes. So that's kind of an opportunity for you to see projects from concept all the way to finished product in a really rapid fire kind of environment. And then there's some design specific classes in here as well. So, you know, your color theory and design class, design thinking, textile science or material science. You know, everyone will be taking a sustainable design and operations class. So learning how to make more sustainable products, how to make supply chains more sustainable, how to make more stuff that matters, not just more stuff. And then at the end of it all, every design student has to participate in the senior exhibit. So this is your opportunity to, over the course of your 4 years, come up with a truly, a product that's really valuable, a product that solves a real problem for people, not just another new colorway of a jacket, not a new backpack with some different zippers here and there. This is a product that really solves a problem for people. So that's kind of the last 2 years for a design, a student in the design emphasis. Product development, like I said, is works in tandem with the designer, is going to be really valuable if they also know how to sketch, know how to use some of those technical design skills, but is someone who's going to get more into the details. You know, this is someone who's extra detail oriented, someone who's going to look at cost of materials, someone who's going to look at where are we sourcing this thing from, someone who's going to look into maybe more of the pattern making. So how is our product going to be constructed? You know, I think those who have an ability of, you know, to prototype are going to really succeed in this track. And with development, we've partnered with our business school. So the final 2 years of the program, you'll actually spend some time in the business school taking some of those classes. So kind of data information for business, Excel, but developers spend a lot of time in Excel kind of tracking cost of materials, and that supply chain, project management. So how do you see, you know, how do you work through getting this product all the way from design to market? Negotiations, which you would need if you're working with a factory trying to negotiate costs. Continuous improvement, so trying to find efficiencies in your factory, and then sales and operations. So kind of overseeing kind of the development process. How do we get this thing from design, you know, working with a factory and get it actually produced? So careers in you know, along the development emphasis, you could be a product developer, you could be a supply chain analyst, you could work in operations or project management. There's a lot of opportunities there. And then product line management, again, is kind of that third leg that's overseeing kind of the whole process and is helping shepherd it along. So you're looking more higher level. It's like, where do these products fit in with the larger business? How do we make sure that what we're doing actually, we're doing in a timely manner, that we're actually making money on this, and that it fits within the larger story of the company, within our, you know, other product lines and categories. So again, someone who's, you know, I think more looking at the business side of product, and isn't afraid to get into the numbers and is really focused on timelines. How do we deliver this product? And again, some of those appropriate classes. So you're going to do a lot of the upfront work, consumer behavior, market research, as well as, you know, some of the back end, like going and actually working with, you know, where are we going to sell this thing? So sustainability marketing, some of your marketing classes, marketing strategy, you know, what is our plan for getting this product out into the market? Are we going more direct to consumer? Are we going more wholesale and retail? So kind of shepherding, again, the product all the way from design to delivering it. And then probably what everyone wants to know is, can I actually get a job in this industry? You definitely can. And that's my role with the program is I'm interfacing with our industry partners almost daily, trying to find opportunities for students in the program, for internships, for job opportunities, for projects. I'm constantly working with companies to get them up onto campus, or at least in the time that we're living now, jumping onto a Zoom call and speaking to a class. Many of you have probably seen on our social media, we like to put out content where we have guest speakers in the classroom or guests that I'm interviewing. We want to create opportunities for you to interface and get to know people in the industry so that you have a leg up when you're looking for that internship or looking to get hired. So there are definitely careers, whether it's design, development, or product line management. I wanted to touch on a couple success stories, and we've featured a lot of these students on Instagram, on our social media. But Veronica Vilhard, part of our first graduating class, when I think back on Veronica, she was always looking for opportunities, was always looking to do a little bit more, was always looking to do extra outside of the classroom. And so she actually got a few different internships over the course of her time in the program. She worked for a tent company called Tensile, and that was an unpaid internship, but it gave her the experience that she needed to go and land an internship at Patagonia. They really loved her prior internship experience. And after working there, she ended up landing a really great job upon graduation at Under Armour. So she's working doing on their footwear innovation team in Portland, Oregon right now. She's been there for the last year. Fisher Olpen is a current student. He's one of our seniors. He just finished up an internship with Vans, and he did that remotely, considering the circumstances that we're in. But he worked with their design team, and again worked with Vans, and he kind of had to figure out his own home office situation and did that here from Utah. Natalie Cullum, we actually just shared a video about her on social media. She was part of that first graduating class as well. I interviewed her about her first year working in industry and what that has been like. So if you want to watch that, go check that out. It's all over our social media right now. But she was really passionate about creating better fly fishing products for women. And so she wanted to design a better pair of waders that fit women. And so this is a product that she took all the way from sketch to digital design to prototype. And this is her prototype that she took out on the Logan River, which is really just 5 minutes away from campus, along with all the other great things up Logan Canyon, and tested it out on the river. And she put this up on Instagram, and then our program Instagram shared it. And designers from Orvis actually saw her work and reached out to her directly and set up an interview with her because they needed a new designer. And she ended up getting a full-time job there. So she's living in Vermont, designing fishing products and fishing for her work and for play. So she's having a great time. So if you want to hear more about her experience, go check that out. Rachel Bodley is another great story. Actually, we just featured her on our social media as well. She was part of this most recent graduating class and actually just got a job at Skull Candy in Park City. So she's doing more of kind of that detail work. So really working on color, materials, finish. What types of zippers are we using? What types of buttons? What type of how are we using color in the products that we're developing? So she actually just got that job offer. And as you all know, it's kind of a wild time right now. So for our students to be securing jobs right now is really exciting. And that's a credit to our students for going out and seeking out opportunities and being really persistent and having a really valuable skill that they can go and take to a company. And then I think we'll wrap it up with Aaron Wright. So another Under Armour success story. So he's really passionate about kind of more the sports side of the outdoor industry. Created a really cool shoe for his capstone project that I know that he has used in his portfolio. And now he works on the outerwear side for Under Armour in their Baltimore headquarters. So on the other side of the country is Veronica. So a variety of jobs. I didn't even list all the different types of jobs that you could get, but product designer, product development, apparel design, apparel development, color finish materials, supply chain management, operations management, product line management, industrial designer. There's a variety of jobs for graduates in our program. And then, I didn't mention this really at the beginning, but we have students in a lot of different circumstances that are interested in this program. We have a lot of students who come, straight out of high school who are looking to enroll, but we also have students who are looking and maybe already have a bachelor's degree and they're looking to come back and maybe they're in the finance industry, but they're looking to get into the outdoor industry. Or they're just trying to look to make that transition. And so we've partnered with the Outdoor Industry Association. So it's kind of that trade organization that all the outdoor product companies are a part of. We partnered with them to create some online content. It's an online certificate for people who maybe you have a bachelor's degree already and you don't want to come back and do another 4 years. This is a great path. This is something that maybe gives you some of that industry-specific knowledge that is going to be the difference maker on your resume and in your interviews with an outdoor company if you're looking to make that jump from one industry to the outdoor industry. So this is it's a new certificate we just launched. 2 of the 4 classes are available right now, and it's all online, self-paced. It's a really great program and a great opportunity. So if you have questions about that or are interested in that, I can send a link out for that as well. Questions. That was a lot of information. So I hope I covered everything, but if you have questions, feel free to share those now. Okay, so what does it take to actually get into the program? So the first 2 years of the program, we have capacity for everyone to participate in those first 2 years. And Barbara can jump into this too, because she's helping students get into classes and figure out what classes you need to take. Those first 2 years, there's no application process to get into the first 2 years of the program. It's once you get into that sophomore year, the end of the sophomore year is where you've got to decide, okay, do I want to do a design emphasis? Do I want to do a development emphasis, or do I want to do a product line management emphasis? The design emphasis is the only one that has a cap. So that's the only one that has a limit on how many students can continue down the design emphasis. Product development and product line management, right now with our relationship with the business school, they have more opportunity, they have more capacity to take on more students. So there's no limit really in theory to how many students can go down those 2 tracks. So really product line management, product development, there's really no limit. But that portfolio is required for to advance into design development or product line management. Does that make sense? And the reason is for design, again, it's because there's limits on the equipment. There's limits on the labs that we have. There's limits on the amount of faculty that we have, and so we have to keep that number relatively small. But it's competitive. But if you want to do design, it really sets you apart if you can do the design track. And we understand that some people are going to come in and say, I don't even want to touch design. I want to do development, product management. I know someone's leaving early. Thank you. Let's see. I think we saw another question.
What would a business minor be beneficial, or would we cover sufficient amount of business debt in the last 2 years of the program?
It depends on your emphasis, right? If you do product development, product line management, you're going to get a lot of business. And I think you're going to be really well positioned.
You'll walk away with a minor in marketing or a minor in operations.
Yeah.
And they fit closely better into the OPDD.
Yeah.
Than the business minor.
Right. If you want to do design and get a business minor, I would recommend entrepreneurship. You can get in and get out doing that really quickly too. They actually have a summer, it's a summer long minor. So you can do the whole entrepreneurship minor in a summer. And we have students who do that, and it gives them a really good foundation, especially those students who want to maybe go and start their own business, or they have a cool product idea and they want to launch it and build a company around it. That's a good path. And to be able to do it in the summer, that's, you can't beat that. That's really great.
OPDD classes, are they available in the summer? Not really.
There's not really any on the books right now. You know, we've offered them in the past, but our students like to go play. So we offer them in the summer, but then everyone leaves us. So we haven't really done that. And in order to run a class, you have to really have a certain number of students to end up paying for that faculty member. And we just haven't had enough students have interest in doing that. But there's ways that maybe you go and do some generals, right? Barbara, if you can do some of that stuff over the summer, if you want to get some of that stuff done, that's a great opportunity too.
But you'll still be here for years. It just makes it so you don't have to take as many classes in the fall and spring.
Right. Certificate program question. Do we have
They already have a bachelor's degree. Do they need to have a design portfolio for their certificate?
Oh no, so the design, that's open to anyone. You don't have to be enrolled at Utah State. We're advertising that to people across the country. That's open to anyone. You don't have to even enroll at Utah State. It's just an online course that you end up taking. So there's really no requirement. There is a cost for each of those classes, but there's no requirement really.
They're currently cheaper than they normally are, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like $300 a class, and so there's 2 classes right now that are available, and there's another 2 that are coming. So we can email that information, the link out to that certificate program if people are interested. I can send that out to everyone. We got a transfer question. This might be a Barbara question.
Since I would be transferring from a different major and I already have my breadth requirements, could I fill the holes left by those classes with classes I would take, say, the next semester? Some of them you can, but some of our classes are prereqs on top of other prereqs. So most of the time, if you have your breadth courses done, it just makes it possible to only take 12 credits a semester instead of 16. And it's more enjoyable to do it that way too. Does that answer your question, Tanner? You want to grab the last one?
Yeah, we've got a couple more here. Yeah, so taking a gap year before you come to Utah State, what kinds of things can I do now to prepare for the program? I love these questions. I love this one in particular. So I think one of the things that students can do to prepare themselves the most are things that they're going to need to do even when they graduate from the program. So sketching daily is really important. Just making stuff. So if you want to do more of the design track, like just find a way to be creative every day. You know, we in some of our classes, before we introduce the students to like really technical pieces of equipment or a certain process, we just break out the cardboard and the paper and scissors and glue guns. And it's, okay, make a backpack out of cardboard, right? So you get an idea of the form and the shape and, you know, just find a way to be creative every day. But I think the big one, sketching. Learn how to sketch like a product designer or an industrial designer. And the way that I would recommend doing that is if you're on Instagram, go on Instagram and look up industrial designers. Or on YouTube, search industrial design sketching. And you'll quickly see the style of sketching. And that's a skill that just takes, it takes, you know, consistency every day to develop that skill. So if you can come into the program understanding some of the design tools and you don't feel like you're limited by the design tool, you'll be a little more free to get those ideas that you have in paper because you're not limited by what your hand can do on paper, right? So I would say just take that time and find a way to be creative every day. Let's see, international student question. Studying a BA in fashion design, do you accept international transfer students? my main worries are, number one, language, because my classes are in Spanish, and number two, graduation year. I'm currently a senior and wouldn't like to wait another 4 years for my degree. Thanks. Barbara, do you have some thoughts on international and transferring?
A lot of international classes will come over, but even if they do come over, it may only fill the general ed requirements. So you would still need to do all the OPDD TEE courses. I would jump into the certificate. Grab that certificate and run with it. Unless you want to spend, probably it will be another 4 years doing another degree.
Yeah. And some of that is at the university level, just what credits do we accept? It's a big process, and it's pretty complicated. You know, what credits do we accept? We have to have certain agreements with other institutions and agree that our classes are actually the same. And so it's pretty complicated. So I agree. I think this certificate is really helpful. And if you want, I mean, there's no harm in just continuing to watch the industry guests that we have and kind of cling to that and use that to build your network. I don't mind. I'm totally comfortable with that. Even if you're not a student, we want to be the center for bringing the outdoor industry together and making some of this industry knowledge available. So, you know, hopefully that can be a resource as well, just for understanding the industry. I would go back through, we have a great podcast and a great YouTube series. So Outdoor Product Design and Development on YouTube, we've got all of our guest speakers from really the past 3-4 years, and more coming every week. Dive into that and just take the opportunity to listen and learn from people who are in the industry. And then the podcast is called the Highlander Podcast. And it's really the same as the video stuff. It's just the audio version. So that's a great opportunity to just dive in and get acquainted with some of that industry specific knowledge. If you have that fashion BA, but you want more industry specific knowledge, you know, listening to people in industry is a good way to go.
You had somebody comment they liked those, Chase.
Oh, I appreciate it. We put a lot of work into those. They're really fun to put together. I'm currently taking a technical English course that is requiring me to contact and interview designers from companies I'm interested in. Do you have a contact from Patagonia or other super sustainable companies you could help me get in touch with? I think so. I think I can help you with that. Just send me an email and we can talk about it off air. So my email is right there. So feel free to send me an email. Happy to help. Any other questions? We've still got a couple minutes.
If you choose to not go into the design track, will you still have opportunities to be hands-on and use the technical equipment?
We will. Yeah, those labs are still going to be available. There's open lab hours. So the idea is those first 2 years, you get to learn how to use all the different tools, hopefully. And then in the final 2 years, we have open lab hours, just like a computer lab where you swipe your card and you go in and use the computer. We have lab aides who are students who are there. But if you need to go and get something made, you can go in there, use the equipment. If you don't know how to use it, they'll help train you on it. And there's a couple other labs on campus too. There's the Metal Factory and then the Idea Factory that are owned by engineering. But they're open to everyone on campus. And so I guess the short answer is yes, you will have that opportunity. And the other thing is if you're just super passionate about something, get to know your faculty, get to know your professors, be nice to them. And if you're really interested in a certain area and you are willing to put in the work, in a lot of cases, the faculty are willing to bend over backwards and help with different things, and want to help you, want to see you succeed. If you show that passion for a certain project or a certain process that you want to learn, or, you know, we have a lot of really good faculty who want to help with that, which I didn't even touch on our faculty, but keep an eye on our Instagram. We're going to actually feature the faculty in the program, so you'll be able to put faces to names. I'm going to share that hopefully next week, so keep an eye on that. But any of the tracks are great. You're going to enjoy all of them. And the other thing is you know, a lot of this comes down to what you're doing on your own time too. So, you know, we have students who have graduated, you know, did all the sketching, learned all the tools, you know, the skills in the first 4 years, but they don't keep practicing. And so a lot of your success is going to be determined on, you know, how much do you put in the time outside of the classroom and are sketching every day or designing every day. Because once you graduate, you know, you got to keep pushing those skills and continuing to learn. So any other questions? I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes.
We appreciate you guys joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope this worked out well. This is the first time we've done this, an information session. So feel free to give us feedback and let us know how it went. We're going to do one of these in the fall and one in the spring every year. And you know, hopefully, so we can answer all of your questions all at one time. So you're not having to, you know, each individually come and ask Barbara those questions. But now you know who we are too. So if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. And the point of this isn't to deter you from asking more questions down the road, but we wanted to get everyone in the room in a way and hopefully answer some of those frequently asked questions.
You will get a link for a survey, and it's more of an advisor survey. If you would like to answer that, it'd be great. Not all the things will relate to you, but if you put comments in the notes, I can share them with Chase, and that would be awesome. Thanks.
And then would it be helpful if we sent out kind of that list of classes for everyone, as well as the certificate information? Okay, so we can send out an email that will include this part of the presentation where we have the second half of the program for design, development, product line management. We can email out each of those 3 forms so that you can see and look deeper into those classes. And then if you go into the catalog, the USU catalog, you can actually look up each of these individual classes, and it should have a description of, like a more detailed description of what you would be doing in that class. Okay.
If they go on Find My Degree on the front page of the USU website and just put OPDD in there, it'll bring up that 4-year plan, and they should be able to click on the courses without individually looking them up.
Cool. I guess the last thing that I would say is if you do have other questions, I manage our Instagram. So at USU Outdoor Product, I think that's how a lot of you found this. Feel free to DM me there or email me. I dropped my email into the chat as well. Facebook, LinkedIn, we're really active putting out you know, information about the program, guest speakers that we have coming to campus. For example, we've got Under Armour that's doing a virtual information session on Friday. And so if you want to attend that to learn about internship opportunities at Under Armour, their recruiter and some of their designers are going to be doing something just like this, like a webinar of sorts. You'll be able to ask questions. If you want to register for that, I'll put the link in. It's the same link that we used for this information session. It's just below you know, the information about this session. So you can go and sign up for that if you want to attend that, and that's Friday. So we're always trying to promote that kind of stuff. So keep an eye on social media, because there's a lot of great opportunities to get involved and learn more about the industry. Thank you all. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I'm sorry we can't talk face to face. You know, hopefully we get to see you around campus with masks, of course. But if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to set up Zoom calls too if you want to talk more in depth about different things. Again, kind of class questions, Barbara can help you with that. Like, what classes should I take? You know, that kind of stuff. What do I need for graduation? I can kind of help you more on the industry side and how to get ahead, how to prepare to get into the industry. So, okay, I think we'll end it there. I could go on forever because I like talking about the program. So great to meet everyone. Hopefully that was helpful. We've recorded this, so we'll put it out there. So if you know of anyone who wants to learn more about the program, feel free to share this as well. But yeah, if you have questions, feel free to reach out.